Everybody, welcome to the Developing Dad podcast. Let me get to something. I just made a big mistake, but we're going to fix it, all right? Happy Labor Day to everybody. I need to go live on Instagram, but Instagram's weird, y'all. I mean, it is. Hold on one second. Let me see something. Yeah, what's happening? All right, so we'll exit preview mode, back to live mode. Yeah. We got all kind of stuff going on. I guess we just won't go live on Instagram today, but we got some stuff to talk about on this Labor Day. I'm really upset. Y'all got to give me a second. Hold on one second. I was supposed, so I restarted my browser, and then it didn't allow me to go to live on YouTube. Let me do this. I mean, not on YouTube, on Instagram. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in. Technical difficulties, but we're going to get this. We're going to get this straight. Now, you see the topic, but I wanted to start off with a little joke. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says, Congress finally gets back in session this week, and I'm so thankful I get to return to a crime-free Washington, D.C. Thank you, President Trump, and thank you, National Guard. And then the freedom and liberty for all, Burnser. Crime-free? I thought you just said Congress was back in session. Yes, because there are lots of criminals on Capitol Hill, right? I'm just a bill. And I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. All right, let's listen into old Nick Fuentes, though. We're going to talk about this, right? Because Nick had some things to say about black people. Nick's always talking about black people. Let's listen in, though. He's always talking about us. Nick, what's wrong with you? All right, let's listen in, though. It's a 7-minute video. We will probably not listen to all of it, but we're going to get the gist of his argument. We're not going to go. Let's do this. We won't do the, yeah. Can I turn the volume up? What's going on? Is the volume up? Is something going on with my volume? Let's see. Somehow my mic got turned a little bit lower. There we are. All right. The gain on my mic was set a little bit lower. I don't know when that happened, because nobody comes in this room but me. Maybe there's a ghost. Thank you for letting me know that it was a bit low. All right. Let's see if Nick's loud, though. Here we go.
But whether it's real or fake, I saw the clip, and I guess it doesn't even really matter so much whether it's real or fake. What sticks out in my mind is that he's on top of a defenseless, unconscious person, striking him repeatedly. And whether this exact instance is professional wrestling and it's scripted, or whether it's real, however real it is, this is a scene that we have seen play out, I feel like, all the time. And what I'm talking about in particular is not just the propensity of young black men for violence, which we see all the time, and we're well acquainted with that. And you see it in Chicago and in New York, and the clips go viral all the time now on Twitter and TikTok. I'm talking in particular about the brutality, because I feel like there's an extra layer there that a lot of people don't acknowledge. It's not just that it's always young black men that we see on the subway wielding a knife, or in Chicago carjacking a couple or something. It's not just that it's always the usual suspects committing the violent crimes, the property crimes, menacing the public, taking over the streets in these teen takeovers. It's the level of brutality. It is actually a matter of degree. And the scene that I'm talking about is, we don't just see black violence. We see clips of brawls and battles at gas stations, in subways, in cities, where black people are doing two things in particular all the time. One is they gang up on their victims. Whenever you see a brawl with black people, it's never one white guy versus one black guy. If a white guy's fighting a black guy, he's fighting a whole crowd of black people. And whether they came with that black guy or not, even if they're just bystanders, they will intervene with the black person. I saw a clip from Chicago today where a group of young black thugs are mugging people, mugging a group of white people, and a black security guard who was working for the bar or store that this happened outside of, he was rifling through one of the unconscious white person's pockets.
So let's stop there and talk a little bit about this, and y'all let me know. Like the video when you come in. Thank you to everybody that's tuning in. We're trying to go live on Instagram as well, but Instagram has this weird thing where if you don't keep the browser up when you try to go live, yeah, it doesn't work. Anyway, whatever. But we'll just keep going without Instagram. So Nick is responding to or reacting to the preponderance of evidence, both statistically and visually, that you see online, where gangs of black people are either fighting one another or they are perpetuating violence on another ethnic group. And he's recognizing the pattern that, for the most part, black people will join in and jump the other person. It's never a single hand-to-hand combat. And I've noticed this as well. The aggregators on X continually point this out or put this in our faces. But they wouldn't have the ability to put this in our faces if the events didn't happen. And he's making the claim that there's a propensity for violence in the black community. And what are we going to say if the evidence, if the evidence is there? Do we want people to shut their brains off and just not recognize that the evidence is there? Are we going to tell Nick, well, your eyes are deceiving you? You who live in Chicago and are probably watching local Chicago news and hearing from other Chicagoans. I'm just asking. These are questions that all of us should be asking. Now let's keep listening.
The security guard. He's wearing a security jacket with the patch and everything, and he's being filmed by some bystander. He is rifling through one of the downed white person's pockets. You see this all the time. So one of the things, it's not just that they're violent. It's that if you're fighting one black person, you better pay attention. You better keep your head on a swivel, because pretty soon you'll find you're not just fighting one, but you're fighting two, and then three, and then a dozen. Because if you're in a black neighborhood, they're always outside. They're always hanging out, loitering at the gas station, riding their bikes around. And pretty soon you will find one or two or three more of them racing in to get in on beating the shit out of the white guy.
Now, why is that? Let's explore that a little bit. Let's explore that reality. Why is it that Nick says that there are lots of black people who, if they see another black person in an altercation with a white person, that they will jump in to help? I think it's very simple. That black people are being taught, for the most part, to hate white people. I think that's as simple as we can make it. I mean, if you want to put the cookies down where everybody can get them, it's that black people see white people as the locus of all their problems. I mean, this is like they're black people, white people, their ancestors. This is the argument. Their ancestors brought our ancestors over to this country, enslaved them, made them work on fields, called them 3/5 of a person, and made sure that we weren't given the same rights as them. And that mindset in the minds of black people has been perpetuated through all of these generations, whether you got slavery, Jim Crow. Well, yeah, whites have been taught that too. That's why you have a lot of white people who hate themselves. But We'll talk about that at another time. And so you've been taught this over and over and over again, that white people are the problem with America, that white people have held you back, that there is a systematic racist agenda against you as a black person, and it's perpetuated by white people, and that white people benefit from privilege and they benefit from this system. And then that foments anger, it foments division. And when you get a chance to strike back, you take it. That's the, if you want to get down to the base reason why you see this happening in black culture, it's that's the reason. What's going on, brother Neil Moses? Let me say to everybody hello to everybody. Georgiana, thank you. Locri, thank you. All right. Jorn, welcome. Big Jim, welcome. Whitney Cook, welcome. And Neil Moses, right? Yes. And Reverend Jim Jones and the Kool-Aid drinkers, welcome. All right. So, and I will be taking questions. Obviously, the order will go super chats, members, moderators, longtime subscribers, etc., etc., etc. Yes. Now, does that justify the actions of these black people? Absolutely not. You are still required to obey the law and to exercise self-control, no matter what poisonous ideology you have been imbibing based on your chosen belief system. So at some point, we have to hold black people responsible, just like we hold any other group responsible. Are they not human? Are they not rational beings that can have expectations set upon them? My skin doesn't make me behave angrily and violently towards other groups of people. It's not inherent. Now, I know Nick makes the argument that it is, and I don't know why. I mean, again, maybe there's some genetic, I have no idea. But I believe that it's a sin issue, and that black people have been given a pass for too long to continue down this path of a moral degeneracy. And they need, like what Trump did, they need a strong hand and penalties for their actions. That's do what if the local governments were serious about stopping crime, if they could work with the states and work with the federal government to reduce crime, harsher sentencing, no catch and release, use the power of the sword to deter those who would engage in violent crime, then you would see a reduction. And so why is it that we can't just do that? Why is it that when Trump tries to help the black community by deploying the National Guard in DC and crime goes down, we can't praise that? Well, black people, and a lot of black people are in DC, are definitely praising Trump, saying, hey, I can walk the streets again without the threat of being mugged or shot or, So I'm still trying to figure out why what Nick says is so controversial, right? Let me go to some of these questions here. All right. No. What it says here, answer me this. Why do black people still talk like this and that? And I'm going to be fitting. I don't know. I guess your guess is as good as mine. Culturally, maybe that's just more acceptable. People just don't want to change I mean, you'll hear that if you're articulate in the black community, you'll be called, you're talking white, or you want to be white. I mean, there's a, what's the best word? There's an emphasis on being authentic in the black community. And what that means to many people is that you don't conform to American societal norms of proper English, proper diction, using subject verb agreement, etc., using the th blend, speaking in such a way that you don't, you take the easy route with your pronunciation. I mean, there's many reasons behind it, and it's been proliferated for so long. Again, read Thomas Sowell's book. It's right here. Black rednecks and white liberals. A lot of that came from the Southern whites who were here in the brought over from England. The lower class whites there, they spoke that type of English and then planted it onto the slaves, and black people brought it up through the Great Migration, and it's just been perpetuated for generation after generation after generation. But at some point, there needs to be a correction, and black people need to, like every other group, pursue the true, beautiful, and good, and make the proper adjustments to their culture. So, yeah. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Any other questions? Yeah. No other questions yet. It's okay. We got some. Let's see. All right. No. Send it to me. Yeah, I'll send it. Let me check. Yeah. I need to check my Instagram messages to see. Send it to me. I'll take a look at it. I need to start doing, because I can't do those on lives, but I may do those on recorded videos, Moses, because I can't bring all of that into one video. I need to stick to one topic. I used to do a lot. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Right. Yeah. A lot of virtue signaling. And I talked about this in the last episode. It's very easy to virtue signal. It's hard to be virtuous. What do I mean by that? It's easy to posture, right? People posture all the time. People posture online about how amazing their marriage is, about how amazing their church is, how amazing their life is, how amazing their job is, how amazing, how virtuous they are, how special they are because they believe in this cause over that cause. They're not MAGA, so they're inherently better than everyone else. Virtue signaling is easy. Actually practicing virtue is, on the other hand, very, very difficult, which is one of the reasons why people don't teach it, and that's why they don't practice it. So it's unfortunate that we have so many people that are willing to virtue signal. Oh, I'm not MAGA, so I'm better than everyone else. Like, what makes you better than everyone? Well, because I care. Care how? Well, I don't really do anything, and I just protest, and I want what's best for black people, even though I don't want to stop crime. And I think they're incapable of doing things themselves, but my heart bleeds for them. Who was that? I'll find the quote. Let's see. I'll find that quote. Hold on one second. Yes. Old Frederick Douglass. Right? This is a Frederick Douglass quote. Okay, let's listen to this. All right. This was some right? So say everybody has asked the question, what shall we do with the Negro? I have had but one answer from the beginning. Do nothing with us. All right, get out of here. It's the ad. All right, I'm not signing up. Do nothing with us. Your doing with us has already played the mischief with us. Do nothing with us. If the apples will not remain on the tree of their own disposal, of their own strength, sorry, if they are worm-eaten at the core, if they are early ripe and disposed to fall, let them fall. I am not for tying or fastening them onto the tree in any way, except by nature's plan. And if they will not stay there, let them fall. And if the Negro cannot stand on his own legs, let him fall also. All I ask is give him a chance to stand on his own legs. Let him alone. This was coming off the heels of emancipation. Don't get in our way, but don't help us along. Meaning we don't need social programs. We don't need, if a Negro is rotten to the core, don't tie him to the tree and keep him there and make the rest of us spoil. See, the ones of us like Booker T. Washington who wanted to work and then train a generation of Negro men and women to work with their hands to build the foundation so that the next generation could take it further. Right? So start from the ground. Those industrious Negroes that want to build and grow the good apples, Now, this quote is anathema today. Frederick Douglass is anathema. Think about that. Because you can't get people. I read that quote and people are looking at me like I'm crazy, right? Yeah. See, they think I'm trying to sell out. I don't want it. That's all they're going to do is call names. I'm not interested in anyone's approval. I have these thoughts of my own. They're my thoughts. Whether white people agree with them, whether black people agree with them, it doesn't matter to me. This is how I view the world. I don't even know the ethnicity of the people in the chat who agree or disagree. Because I'm not looking for white acceptance and I'm not looking for black acceptance. It's an amazing thing. I'll give you a tip for life. It's an amazing thing to have your own beliefs and be steadfast in them and not be swayed by someone because they call you names or they disagree. It's amazing to have that sense of resoluteness in life, right? Right? Yeah, see, and then it'll just keep making, right? Right. I mean, that's essentially what Frederick Douglass was saying was, let us sink or swim on our own merits. Why is it that, what do you think? Now, there needed to be some integration in these people were slaves for generations. So there needed to be some integration and education into a free and prosperous society. And there were many people who came from the North who wanted to help with that. Right. So it's not saying that no one should ever help anyone else. What it's saying is politically, you're trying to change the tide or turn things a certain way. And he's saying, well, you can't turn a bad apple into a good one. You can't legislate someone to be a hard worker. So the ones that are going to thrive will thrive in the system. They will find a way. Someone like Booker T. Washington is a clear, Frederick Douglass himself, Booker T. Washington and men like them are clear examples of the cream rising to the top. And so if you just allow that to happen and don't get it in its way, do the same thing you would do for a white man who wants to rise to the top. Just provide him the legal protections to allow that to happen, and you don't get in his way. black people can succeed at the same levels as any other group if given the opportunity. The literacy rate after slavery took an astronomical rise from less than 2% to like 33% within a generation, because black people wanted to learn how to read and they did it. There's nothing stopping black people from being successful. So just stop doing for us. Great Society programs, stop doing for us. DEI, stop doing for us. Affirmative action, stop doing for us. This the same thing that he's talking about here. I don't have a DEI channel. My channel succeeds or fails based on the amount of work that I put into it. I did 31 live streams in July. I made more money on my channel than I ever had made. I did 10 this month. I made less because I had less time. I'm planning on doing more in September. I'm going to put more together and put more into it. I'm probably going to make more than I made in August, in September. But I don't need a helping. I need you. I would like it if YouTube would allow my widescreen videos, if they would stop throttling down my reach. But that's why I do the vertical, because they haven't done that yet. Because those who were with me last year recognized the switch immediately when I started talking about Kamala Harris, and then my channel I was rising up, and then YouTube got wind of it, and they were like, well, no, we're gonna stop that from happening. But undeterred, I just figured out how I could do it another way. Don't quit. Adjust. Right? Adjust. Yeah. Anyway, let me see some of this stuff. Yes. I'm on Rumble too. I'm on Rumble right now. Yeah. You go to Rumble. Let's see. Rumble. I'm on Rumble. My feed. I don't know where I am. How do I get to my channel? I don't even know how to get to my channel on Rumble. Right? My content. Where is it? I don't even know where it is. Somewhere. If you want to find me, I'm on there. There I am. Right there. Rumble. Somewhere. If you want to find me, I'm right there. I'm on Rumble. Right? So, there you go. If you want to find me, I'm right there. But yes, I'm on Rumble, Facebook. Yeah. So, all right. So, let me go back to some of these, because I was answering questions. So let me see if I can find what's going on, brother Caleb Collins. Happy Labor Day. Yeah. Happy Labor Day. Right? What's going on? Boy, brother, it's fine. I understand. I understand you ain't calling me boy like boy. All right, let's see where are we? Let's see. I'm going to go back to some of these comments that I might have missed. Let's see. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm looking over here at some of these comments whenever I'm looking over here. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Any good questions? No. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Bulo says that, yes, your beliefs are not your own. You have been trained and swayed by others. Did someone train you to believe that? Let's see. Let's see. Right. Yes. All right. So is it your contention? Oh, I'm going to have fun with you. Is it your contention that you can't talk about anything that you haven't experienced? Is that your contention? You might want to think about that, because logically that's going to leave you in a very, very precarious situation. Now they have B. Williams. They have helped, because I talk about this on my channel as well, because as Nick is talking about this, it gives us an opportunity to expand the argument somewhat. I discussed this. The Democrats could have offered the black community subsidy after subsidy, handout after handout, program after program. But if the black community stood resolute and said, you have no place here, then none of these pathologies that we see plaguing the black community today would have happened. So ultimately, someone can offer you a bad deal. It's up to you whether or not you take it. Someone can offer, and we mentioned this, we watched this video previously, where they offered black women the opportunity to be on government assistance if there was no man in the home. Black women had to take the deal en masse for it to work. And now you have a generation of women who believe that those social programs are a way of life. So if they never take the deal, are we here today? You can flood the communities with drugs after the Great Society programs. You can flood the communities with drugs because there are less fathers to keep young men out of that lifestyle, and poverty is starting to ravage the community. But ultimately, it's the people who have to take the drugs. But if you condition people, now again, there's both and. I'm not trying to exonerate the Democrats. What I'm saying is both parties have to work in tandem in order to destroy the community. The community can just not allow itself to be destroyed. I grew up in New Orleans during the time of, extremely high homicide rates, drug infestation, et cetera, et cetera. You come up out of, you grew up in New Orleans. We were the murder capital for a while, per capita. Obviously, our numbers were smaller than New York, but per capita, we were number one. My father, I grew up with both of my parents. There was I feared my father. There was no way that I was going to engage in some of the behaviors that people around me engaged in, because I knew that every night, and I was trained from a young age to know that when my dad got home, if I had done things that he had disapproved of, there would be a reckoning. I was trained to know that from the outset of my life. If I knew I had done something, and my mom would say, "I'm telling your dad when he gets home." When I saw those lights pulling into the driveway, I was, well, here it comes. And that's not just a black thing. That's just parenting. And so I didn't engage in a lot of the behaviors that got people caught up around me. It was as simple as that. It was having a father there who would not allow that type of behavior, setting a standard and not allowing that standard to be violated. It's as simple as that. And so Democrats knew that when they offered to put women on government assistance and remove men from the home. They knew what they were doing. They understood the importance of fathers in the home. And so unless we believe that was just random, I don't know. I don't think it was random. Maybe you all, maybe someone, yeah. Maybe. All right, let's see. Let's see. We're gonna get back to the video in a second. I'm looking at some of these comments. All right. Happy Labor Day. Yes. So what's going on, Pro What? How you doing? Welcome. Yes, the left does lie. Yes, he does. What's going on, Lee? Welcome. Yes. All right. He said, Pro What says Nick is racist. He might be, because he even says it in this video. Let's get back to the video. I'm going to look at some of these some of the comments.
Two, the other thing that they do is they will kick someone's head when the person's down. That's another thing that's unique. When a black person fights a white person, if the black person wins, they won't just knock the guy down and see whether the guy's going to get back up or whether he still poses a threat. They immediately, it's instinctual, start stomping the white guy's head in. They start kicking the white guy's head. Or they'll get on the ground and keep punching the white guy even if he's unconscious. And they'll just keep going. And so it's not just that they're violent, it's that there's no honor. No honor. No charity, no regard for human life. I would even go further and say it's not just about honor. A lot of times I see commentators in the replies, they'll say, these blacks, they never fight with honor. Forget about honor. There's no rules in a street fight. Everyone knows that. You're in a street fight, weapons, other people, it's fair game. It's the law of the jungle. You can't be the guy that gets the shit kicked out of him and cry about honor. It's not a matter of honor. In some sense it is, obviously that pertains here, but it's a reckless disregard for human life. They don't just want to stop the violent altercation. They don't want to subdue their opponent or their attacker, or if they're in a defensive situation, they want to kill the other person. And it escalates over nothing. It'll be a shove. Someone looks at them the wrong way. They're just white. The black person asks them for money or is giving them a hard time. And if the white person doesn't react in the right way, it escalates from that to them getting hit and knocked down to then attempted murder. And then all the black people will defend it. We saw this with Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, where an 18-year-old black kid, once again, very quickly escalates from two 18-year-olds on the track field. White guy comes up, hey man, you're in my seat. Black kid stabs him in the neck with a knife. So you just get that escalation from 0 to 60 over nothing into lethal violence, reckless disregard for human life. And then the black community steps in and defends a black person. And so whatever happened over the weekend, the reason that it created such a ferocious response from the public is because this is what we see all the time. And it's not just that there's criminals. There's a lot of criminals. There's Hispanic criminals. There's white criminals. Of course, we all know there's more black criminals than any other race of criminals. We all know that.
All right, so let's break some of this down, right? Now, do I agree with everything that Nick Fuentes is saying? Well, that Nick Fuentes says. Let's just say that, okay? Not everything, obviously, but I do believe that he is thoughtful and well researched. Now, and then you've got to. Well, this is a really good question. So, am I agreeing with a racist? Can racists say true things? Let me ask y'all. Can racists say true things? Can racists say true things? I'm just asking. Can racists say true things? Yes or no? Of course, right, of course. Okay. Yes. Now, that goes without saying, right? That a racist can say true things. So I'm not interested in whether or not Nick is racist. That's not my concern. My concern is whether or not what Nick says about the black community has any validity, and what can we as black Americans do about it? That's my concern. The messenger, you can discount Nick as a messenger because he's racist. That's fine. Because he even mentions it in this same video. He says it, that white people are justified in being a little bit racist. That's what he says. So I don't even think he denies the fact that he's a racist. But I'm using him as a jumping off point to understand or to highlight some actual problems that he himself may be hitting on, and figure out what can the black community do about it. Is it true? And what can we do about it? Now, we can disagree as to whether or not I should be using Nick as a jumping off point. But to say that that truth can't come from a racist, you're essentially committing a fallacy, a genetic fallacy, that you're denying the claim based on its origin. At some point, you've got to mature and accept truths from sources that may not be sources that you agree with. Yeah, right. If you don't mind, I like that. I like that. Thank you. Yes. So that's where I am. I'm at the point in my life where I can listen to a Nick Fuentes. Nick doesn't offend me. When he talks about black people in the abstract, if it's true, why hit dogs holler? It doesn't offend me. Because I don't fit that profile. I'm 47 years old, married with 5 children. I've been a software engineer for 25 years, worked for Fortune 500 companies, teach music part-time, can play four instruments, my children are being trained to be classical musicians, classical rhetoricians, classical learners. My wife and I are homeschooling our own children. We read, we instruct. One of the reasons why I was looking for a book the other day, I was going to show it on the stream. My son had taken it and he was reading it. So I don't fit that profile. I'm respected in the neighborhoods where we are as someone of integrity. And so when he speaks, it doesn't bother me. So I can listen to him because I'm not a hit dog and I'm not going to holler. So I'm just telling you all this. Why can I listen to Nick Fuentes and not be offended? Because he doesn't offend me, because he's not talking about me individually. I don't like hip hop culture. I hate rap. None of these things appeal to me. So I avoid ninja culture like the plague. I don't believe that I have to do those things in order to be black. I don't have to enjoy those things in order to be black. Now, nope. My birth certificate says otherwise. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. But yes, I am 47. But I try to stay in decent shape, and I have a really good wife who cooks for health and life. Yes, she tries to take care of me. Okay, so I actually want to do this. I actually want to do it. Yeah, he might be talking about me. But again, I choose you all. I choose what I'm going to be offended by. I choose that. See, I don't walk around butthurt, y'all. I just don't. I can't do it. Right? I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, let me check this. Let me see if I can add this widget. So you all's chat can be, hold on one second. Where is it? I'm going to try to see if I can get the chat in here. Maybe, hold on one second. There we are. All right. We're going to pull this up. Maybe get some of you all's, y'all see that? So maybe some of you, I like it. I like it. So your chat can come through. Interesting. I'm going to have to pull it over a little bit. I'm trying something midstream. Y'all forgive me. Because I want y'all to see what I'm seeing. There you go. I can't really read them, though. Yeah. I can't really read them. Is this actually? Okay. Well, I'm going to check this out. I'm trying it midstream, so, forgive me. But I may try it again later. I'm going to look at it later. But, yeah, I want to try that because I'm going to have... So, yeah, Nick might be talking about me in general. It doesn't bother me, though, y'all. I just don't care. Do you realize... Okay, let me explain to you why I don't care. And we'll get back to the video. Okay, why doesn't it bother me? For the vast majority of my life, black people have been slandering me, calling me names. It started when I was about 3 years old, that I can remember. Continued in kindergarten. And this is, for me, I have family members who don't like the things that I'm doing, that it's just so much stuff. I don't care. I really am not interested in the praise of men at all. I really am not. So if Nick says something about me that is not true, it goes in one ear and out the other. And so I'm just trying to explain to you why I can listen to him and it doesn't offend me. Now, it may offend some of you who are black, who actually defend some of the types of people that he's critiquing. But I don't defend that type of behavior. Never have and never will. If someone's wrong, they're wrong if they're black, they're wrong if they're white. It is what it is. Now, let's see what else he has to say.
That goes without saying. But blacks aren't the only ones that commit crimes. They commit it at a wildly disproportionate rate, or it is a unique problem. But it's not even just that they commit violent crimes or that they're in gangs. It's that it seems that blacks are the only ones. It is really them. And everybody else is in another category. It is only them that has this kind of predatory, hostile, reckless disregard for human life, no honor. You'll have 14-year-olds driving a stolen car, running over a white professor on a bicycle, running him over and killing him and laughing about it for no reason. For no reason. Do you see this with any other group? Yes, Hispanics are in gangs. You have Latin kings, and they're involved in turf wars and drug wars. You almost never see that kind of reckless disregard for life among Hispanics. And yes, there's skinheads, and there's white trash that fight. There's white people that are picking fights. You don't even see it with white people either. Obviously, you don't see it with Asians at all. It's only them.
Right, and then he even mentions in another part of the video, he says that white people are well within their right. I think I'm paraphrasing. Well within their right to be racist, right? With all of the stuff that they're seeing, with all of the videos that are coming out, with the interactions that they're seeing with, let's see, hold on. I'm going to show you this one. I was going to pull this one up. Let's see. Where is it? Not this one. This is, I'm going to look it up. Hold on one second. Where is it? Not that one. I'm looking up this quote this clip that I saw the other day, where this woman was in the Goodwill and went off on a young white woman. No, it wasn't this one. If I can't find it quickly, then I won't worry about it. It's a lot of clips from Goodwill. Goodness. Oh my. Anyway, but when you see these interactions happening where black people are attacking white people unprovoked, and they're showing an unreasonable amount of hatred for white people for just existing, you have to start asking yourself, why is that happening and what needs to change? Because apparently they're being emboldened to behave this way, and it's never like they're not being censured. He mentioned Carmelo Anthony stabs Austin Metcalf and gets $500,000, a $500,000 gift and go. Why? Lack of impulse control. He stabs a young white man in the heart, and people go on tirades on social media saying that Austin Metcalf deserved that. Black women are saying, I did a review of a black woman who said that he deserved that. The boy told you don't put your hands on him. He put his hands on him. He deserved it. That's what's happening. And so then you see the equal and opposite reaction of a Shiloh Hendricks, who calls a little boy the N-word, and she gets 700,000 because it's a tribalistic competition to see who can support their tribe the best. But it's a knee-jerk reaction to black people supporting someone who murders. There's no way, right? There's no way that you should support someone who murdered. Explain why I hate myself. Explain. I know you all like to make those claims. They're baseless, but go ahead and explain it. See if you can actually substantiate your argument that I hate myself. You might be right. It's not organic. It might be, yeah. It might be a setup for us to get into a civil war. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? And waiting for that person to tell me why I hate myself. All right. But again, you guys, that's the black playbook, right? If I don't support everything that a black person does, then I hate my mama, I hate myself, right? Like the black community left me a long time ago. The things that my family does, the things that we like, the things that we pursue. The vast majority of the black community looks at us and slanders us for it. We get a lot of slander and hatred for the things that we do. We also get called a lot of names. Like these people are in here calling me names. They don't know me from Adam. But I hate my mom. I hate myself. It's weird because you can actually love what God is doing in your life and the things that you're doing, and love your family, love your children, and be a light. But if you there's certain things that you cannot do and be authentically black,
They're
right?
gonna put you all back in chains,
right? And then if I stray outside of the narrative, then
you ain't black.
Then I ain't black, right? Now let's see who responded. Where's the person responded that said why I hate myself? Let me see. Let's see. Here we go. Where is it? Let me see. Where is it? I don't see the. What did they answer? Oh, I said, yeah. So I don't agree with Nick there. I believe obviously that more crimes, if you're talking about it, since white people are 60+% of the population, they're going to commit more crimes on a numbers wise, right? I don't think anybody's arguing that if you add up all of the crimes of white people in the country, and you add up all the crimes of black people in the country, that white people are probably going to be at the top. I don't think anybody's making that argument. What people are saying is there's a disproportionate number of black people committing crimes based on the population size. And I think that's the argument. And I think you know that. But, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird. Thank you for the super chat. All right, here we go. I have a long list of clips about that very topic that I'm waiting to unleash. I'm trying to figure out when to do that episode. But it's funny that I'm not laughing at your comment. I'm laughing that you said that. Because there's a lot of evidence that that group is responsible for a lot of the problems in our country. And I would say, like, not all, but some very powerful executives, entertainment, music, movies, entertainment, APAC. It's a lot of that. Yeah. But, yeah. So you say this, what is it, Sharice? Who said that black people are perfect? No one did. Nobody is perfect and nobody condone crime. Yes, people do condone crime. Yes, they do. That's what we're talking about. We're saying that exact thing. All right. We're saying that exact thing. We're saying that exact thing. We're saying, let's see. Hold on one second. We're saying that black people do condone these crimes. You can see that they are online making excuses for this type of behavior. Let's see. We're going to pull up some old clips, but it's an older clip, sir, but it checks out. It's an older clip, but it checks out. All right. All right. So, yes, we have plenty. There are plenty of people. Now, this is the classic deflection tactic. Well, white people do it too. Are white people the standard? Because if you're saying that it's okay if black people do it because white people do it, then you've set white people up as the standard, and you believe that they're better. Wouldn't you want to be better? Seems like let me get to the super chat, right? Forced integration is unnatural. It is unnatural. It is very unnatural. People should congregate with like-minded people. That's essentially what my argument would always be. You should congregate with like-minded people. Thank you for the super chat. Like-mindedness is the most important attribute. Now, people will congregate with those who look like them, but generally those who look alike share a common heritage, a common tradition, because they are from the same geographical location, and those traditions and norms have grown up out of that location. When you import people into the same spaces who do not share the same worldview, who do not share the same traditions and norms and values, it's a recipe for disaster. Look at Europe. Europe is in the throes of the beginning stages of revolution in so many different areas because their citizens are tired of the Islamic world being imported into their culture, and the governments pushing their native-born citizens to the margins. America would be wise to take note and to not repeat that pattern. But you see, because the Islamic mindset is to come in, have lots of children, create an enclave, and then take over and subjugate. That's the plan. Now, you would be wise to not allow them to enact that plan, but that's the plan. Because diversity of thought, diversity is not in and of itself a moral good. Let's just put that out on the table, right? Exactly. Diversity cannot exist with $100. Yeah. Diversity in and of itself is not a moral good. I know people have been taught to believe that, but it's not. If you have hardworking people, they can all be dragged down by a certain number of lazy people, indigents who don't want to do what's right and good, who want to leech off of the system and not contribute anything. If you have morally upright people who want to do what's right and good, but you bring in some people who have the criminal mindset, who want to R-word young ladies, you're going to have problems. This is what's happening in Europe. It started to happen in America. This stuff is this is real life. These are real life issues that people are having to deal with, and instead of our governments protecting the citizens, they're out here trying to make excuses for criminality. May it never be. The black community needs to vociferously call out criminality in its midst. But the problem is, in many black cities, majority black cities, we have criminals who are running the government. LaToya Cantrell, mayor of New Orleans. Tiffany Hinyard, former Dalton mayor. Brandon Johnson, Chicago. These people are mismanaging funds. First federal indictment of a sitting mayor, LaToya Cantrell, black woman. Congratulations. These are the types of things that we have to deal with as a black community. People keep saying, "Oh, I hate myself." No, let's be honest. There's a black elite that hates and uses the everyday black person to stand on our shoulders and gain political influence and power and milk the system, and then they bring their next homeboy or homegirl into the system, and they do this thing and they perpetuate this wickedness through generations, while we black people who they're stepping over and stepping on continue to struggle and fight for an existence in the criminal cities that they themselves have fostered. Right? But I hate myself. Right. I hate myself. I hate myself. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Look, I mean, it's just, and we see it. So many black people see it and they recognize that the Democrats are perpetuating this lie. But then let's look at this, right? The authorities, this Elon Musk posted this, but this is a young woman in Germany. It turns out, and I got many of these saved, but this is the type of stuff that people are looking away. They're looking the other way on. Turns out now that the illegal Iraqi immigrant who killed 16-year-old Ukrainian war refugee Liana in Göttingen, all right, Germany, by pushing her in front of a train, had a deportation order issued for March 2025. The authorities never carried out the deportation, as so many other times before. All right, so that's one. Again, I've got others. But this is, do we want this to come to America? Do we want to see this in America? Because Lake and Riley already happened. But we've got all of these other examples. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in here. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff tonight. Yes, this one. Here's another one. I have to go and look. Right? Muslims raped, murdered, and beheaded this young woman. You're importing the Islamic world into the West when Islam's ideology is takeover, it's subjugate, it's right here it is. And then you wonder why right? Establish a mosque, create an enclave, grow the population, claim victimhood, resist host authorities and customs, exploit lawfare, institute Sharia, secede, and take control. Afghanistan was once the Buddhist nation. Pakistan was Hindu. Lebanon was Christian. There's a pattern. We keep acting like lawlessness. If we keep accepting lawlessness from in the black community and not recognizing the larger play of what's happening around us, and we keep coming back to the Democrats and saying, oh, well, they're going
to put you all back in chains.
The Republicans going to put y'all back in chains. You keep being afraid to venture off of the Democratic plantation and think outside of the liberal hive mind. If you make excuses for what you see in the culture, which clearly, if you raised your great grandfather from the grave and brought him and just let him watch X, find one of these aggregators, go to World Star. If you had him watch those videos, what do you think he would say? No, I am not Muslim. What do you think he would say? Great job? Wow, you've made me proud? Is that what we think? That previous generations would think of what's going on in the black community today? There's a classic Boondocks episode where where Martin Luther King was shot, and instead of dying, he went into a coma, but then he woke up in the early 2000s. And he went off. He went off. Now, I'm no Martin Luther King fan, but essentially, he recognized the ridiculous habits of twerking and degeneracy and everything that has become the norm of black culture. He recognized it for what it was. We didn't die. He's like, I didn't die for this. Y'all think I died for this? And he starts dropping N-words on them. But why do black people think that these behaviors are somehow laudable, defendable? You're not. This is horrible. Yeah, this is horrible. Right now, yeah, he would have beat you. You're right. It wouldn't have been any of that right there. That took a switch to you back in the day. Yeah, because my great grandfather was born during slavery. Right, I think he was born maybe 4 to 5 years before slavery was, before the Emancipation Proclamation. If he could see what black culture has become, yeah. I can't, yeah. No. I've already done that. Yeah, I've already done that. Your assumption is that I haven't. I've studied religions starting in 2012. I will never convert to Islam. There's nothing in it for me. It's logically inconsistent. It's morally repugnant. I will never convert. So, yep. Let's see. All right. So we've been talking about old Nick for about an hour. Right now, I'll let you all make the decision as to where we go next. Or we can keep talking about this topic because I have a whole bunch now. Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Much better. Much better. Yes. Yes. Much better. Yeah. Much better. Yeah. So what I do is I'll tell you, this is a general pattern of what I do, right? Because I'm not gonna tell you every. This has been years and years and years ago, but this is what I do whenever I want to study something. I listen to the best debaters and scholars from that side, and then I watch debates from the top scholars from opposing sides. So let's say, like if Shabir Ali were to debate David Wood, I would watch that. I would listen to Shabir's talk. I would listen to David Wood, and then I would listen to them debate. And so that's what I do with pretty much everything. I'm in the process of doing that now with another theological topic. I listen to the talks of the person that I think is an expert in the field, and then I'll watch them debate their position against those who are as competent as they are from the other side, right? On the negative. And so that's what I do. And so I did that for years, and I'm not going to do it again. So I'm not interested in Islam as a possible, not as well. Thank you for the super chat, Matthew Howell. Fight the good fight. I will. I'll keep it going. Right. We're going to keep this thing moving. Right. So let's see. Yeah. Again, I will listen to people. I don't have time to read every hadith, read the entire Quran. I don't have time to do that. I work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the most part. And I have limited time on my hands to do that. So I read a lot. You can tell. I've read like 80% of the books that you see behind me. But there's only so much time in the day. So, yeah. But I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to read the Quran. If I listen to those who have read the Quran, listen to their arguments, listen to what they say, and then listen to them debate Christians and see where they intersect, right? Yeah, guys. All right. Yeah. There you go. Okay, cool. All right. So here's the thing. Islam is logically fallacious on its face, right? It makes claims that are false. So if you can find logical inconsistencies hold on one second. Let me just show you. Hold on. Let me move this out of the way. Move this one. This will be very helpful for you all as well. For those of that, not for everybody, but I mean, it'll be helpful for everybody. Maybe some people already know this, right? So when you actually study logic and you study reason and, reasoning, and you know what an unanswerable argument is, right? An unanswerable argument is one that has clear terms, true premises, and valid logic. Now, if you actually recognize that an argument doesn't have, so arguments for Islam, right? Arguments for Islam. Let's take one of them. The swoon theory, the mass hallucination theory, and the like, things like that, right? And that they get certain things wrong about Christianity. And then Muhammad's claim that he received revelation from the angel Gabriel. And you just walk down this formula here: clear terms, true premises, valid logic. And if you claim that the Quran is a divinely inspired book by a God who does not err, if you can debunk the claims in the book using this formula, then you can prove that the religion itself is built on a house of cards, and there's no reason to believe it. So further study is unnecessary if you actually recognize it being fallacious at the outset, right? So, yeah. So that's one of the reasons why it's not necessary to study Islam as though I'm an imam in order to falsify it. So, yeah. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, guys, yeah, these people are on a different level, man. They're just on a different level, and you just have to deal with them on that level. But we actually, if they could actually defend their religion, they wouldn't have to resort to name calling. So like, I can defend Christianity. I can defend the things that I believe about Christianity. I've been called that so many times. It's almost like hello on this channel now, right? And you're going to get trolls coming in here. They're going to call you coon. They're going to call me sellout. They're going to call me, all kinds of names. And so it's a point where you're like, whatever. I can actually pull them up on the screen and address the actual concerns. Yeah. But, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Right. I know. Well, that's the thing. I mean, God Seeking Atheist, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you for, coming back. Yeah, I mean, I could read the Quran tomorrow. They say it's really a real, like, it's what's the size? Like, it's a third of the size of the New Testament, maybe a fifth. I don't know exactly, but it's not very long. And I've read portions of it, but it's not an interesting read to me. And it's not interesting. It doesn't captivate me. It doesn't keep me entertained, I guess. I mean, because I'm not looking at it for a spiritual formation. So it needs to entertain me. I need to wait. I don't want to waste my time, right? So I don't know. I mean, the crazy thing is, people say that many people have memorized the entire Quran, and I'm like, well, that's cool. I've memorized 14 books of the Bible, and I'm actually in the middle of memorizing number 15, the book of James. I started chapter 3 yesterday. So I memorized books of the Bible. That's how important it is to me. They always, Muslims would always say, well, you Christians don't even know your Bible. Well, they can't use that defense with me, use that argument against me, because I'm like, well, I memorize books of the Bible. I have thousands of verses memorized, and, because I actually believe it, and I want to live my life by it. But you just hear, I mean, so many people just, they make claims. And again, they make claims in ignorance, and you just have to eventually, you can address them. I could address them every time I get on this live, because they make the same claims, but then it would devolve into this, right? Where I'm just kind of sitting here talking about stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's the problem right there. That's the problem. That's the problem. Right? They're coming in, they're having kids. That's what it says. Establish a mosque, create an enclave, grow the population, claim victimhood, resist the host authorities and customs, exploit. You see it happening over and over and over and over and over again. And at what point, like this person asks the question, at what point will governments recognize that it's not by the sword, it's actually by the womb, victimhood and the womb, that they are going to create this Islamic world order. That's, yeah. Yeah. All right. That's what they're doing now. Okay. So we got two other topics that I wanted to discuss. One was a little bit more about the transgender shooter and some of the Minneapolis shooting. So we might move to that part. Yeah, let's move there because we have some, and we'll finish. Maybe we'll finish up with Zionism and Trump. But this has been making the rounds, right? This new yeah. Right. Okay, the Minneapolis shooter says, "I am sick of my hair. I want to chop it off. I only keep it because it is pretty much my last charade of being trans. I am tired of being trans. I wish I never brainwashed myself. I can't cut my hair off now, as it would be an embarrassing defeat, and it might be a concerning change of character that could get me reported." Yes, exactly. Christ is king. Christ is king. Amen. Praise God. That's right. That's right. Yes. Right. I don't think, who said that? Did somebody say that quoting the Bible doesn't make it true or valid? Yeah. I don't think anybody made that claim. Okay. And so we get tired of being trans, tired of being, oh man, ooh, that's a really bold claim there. Let's see how it works out for him, Cotton. But no. The historicity of Jesus is not in question by any historical scholar worth his salt. So, I mean, you could take it up with them. One of the most well-attested figures from antiquity is Jesus Christ. You're essentially living in 2025, Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord. So yeah. Now, we see this is a problem, right? This destroys the narrative that trans people are happier after transition, that all of them, that this is not a mental illness, that this is not a dangerous, life-altering decision that people regret. Westman is the poster child, if you're paying attention, for why we need to stop pretending that this is normal. It doesn't help people to pretend that they are something that they're not, and then to perform surgeries and affirm them through legislation and allow them to go out into society, a society that will by nature reject what they are or what they're trying to become. Let's say that. So you harm them, and then they will want to harm others. And it's a sad reality that we don't want to be the ones who say this because of the backlash. It's not hatred to try to help someone avoid a disastrous mistake. And this young man expressed regret and then went out and harmed others who he believed had hurt him, or he wanted to hurt others because he was hurting. This is a dangerous game that we've been playing. And I'm not saying us as every person, but I'm saying our United States government has been playing a dangerous game, affirming this lifestyle choice, because more people will be harmed by this. This is not, unfortunately, this is not the end. Let's see. Someone wants to send me a message on Instagram. Let's see. Hold on one second. They want to send me a message. Someone's trying to share something with me. Oh, okay. I'm gonna check it out. I'm looking at it now. There you go. All right. Checking it out. I just saw that. Okay. So now, unfortunately, yeah, we're normalizing, right? Yeah. We're normalizing mental illness, right? I was here in my house. What do you mean? Who are these people? Can you give me some names? Can you give me some names? Can you give me some names, please? Tell me. Right. The God-seeking, right. Hurt people, right? If we intervene chemically or surgically to develop a person, they forever hate those who changed him when he was impressionable, therefore leaving him broken and dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see. Yeah, you made that claim. Where were they? Give me some names. Give me some names so we can do some research. Because I will roundly condemn anyone who claimed to be a Christian but committed a mass shooting. See, because Christianity gives me the mechanisms to censure and denounce that type of behavior. It does. Whoa, man, you got some 99.9%. Some names, please. That's not names. A percent and a name are two different things. Percentum from the Latin, by 100. Nomina, name from the Latin, means to identify. Names, identification, names. Names. That'd be nice. Just give me one name so we can go and research this person. Find out who they are. We can, all right? Because there are some statistics out there more recently that have been that have been put out there, right? So who commits mass shootings? 2015 to 2025, public incidents, 4+ killed per million. Trans, non-binary, biologically male, 0.769. Trans, non-binary, biologically female, 0.67. Asian men, 0.40. Black men, 0.19. White men, 0.176. Asian women, 0.097. Hispanic men, 0.094. Effectively proving that Asian men, what was it? Hispanic men, who was it? Asian men, black men, white men. Okay. Yeah. So these are your stats. All right. These are your stats. Now, I mean, you can argue with them. There's really no to find out if the numbers are accurate or not, but it's been circulating. So we're just putting that out there. All right. Now I wonder, are they counting drive-bys and Yeah. Are they counting drive-bys? I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go to the... Hold on 1 second. I will... Where is this? All right. Maybe... Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. We're going to speed it up just a little bit. This is the original source of the clip. And then, all right, let's listen in. Here we go. This is Patrick Bet David on his podcast.
Check this out, folks. Weird. So this is data showing mass shooting rates by demo from 2015 to 2025. Look at the one to the left. Trans, non-binary is the highest. Then it's Asians. Then it's blacks. Then it's whites. Then it's Hispanics. Like Hispanics, this is not anything they do. Then it's Native Americans, not at all. But why is that? Why are we not paying attention more to data to see what's going on here? You think we could prevent maybe some of these things have happened in the future? You know how many parents are concerned nowadays?
The way the Democrats handle this, and I'm not making it political, I'm just describing. The playbook, find a victim, politicize it, push that victim against conservatives as being absolutely, repressed. And trans is the new victim. Protect trans, politicize trans, push them against conservatives. Conservatives are trying to repress the trans. Well, look, that may be a tremendous effort of change that happened in 1968 with civil rights legislation when it was needed. Now you're finding made-up victims, and we're not getting to the root cause. There are some people who are trans that really are sexually confused and are peaceful people, and they don't know what's up, and they feel this way, and so they want to be this. There's other people. The data is in. The data is here. That there is a number of people, and it is a significant percent of people in the trans community who are trans and talk about it, friends of trans talk about it, that say there's something going on, that there's something deeper and emotional and troubling. The data is in now. In Tennessee, it was a trans shooter. Now in Minneapolis, it was a trans shooter. This is bothersome because you see it in the people. They need help.
There it is. But again, the trans community will not allow them to be helped because it defeats the narrative that it's hatred from the community that's causing the issue, right? From those outside of the community, not inside the community, right? Now, it could be inside the community as well, because if you dare reject the prevailing narrative, just like black people, when you reject the prevailing narrative of being black,
and
right?
You ain't black.
Then you ain't black. And they're going to make you pay, right? They're going to send the sisterhood out after you. They're going to send the emotional men after you to cut you out and threaten violence against you. Call you coon, call you Uncle Tom, call you all the things, right? Uncle Rucker, no relation, Clayton Bigsby. Oh, we've heard it all. And so they're going to make sure that you do not stray from the prevailing narrative, from the accepted standard and principle, right? Yeah, you can't do that. Okay. Now, unfortunately, life has a way of correcting, right? Because we live in God's world, and you sow into the flesh, you'll reap the flesh. You sow into corruption, right? You'll reap corruption, right? Sow into the flesh, you'll reap corruption. Sow into the spirit, it'll bring life to the good, right, true, beautiful things. You'll get life. And sowing into gender confusion and mental illness will always lead to negative outcomes, deleterious outcomes. Now, let's listen to this, because RFK has some things to say about the treatments that have been prescribed for. Yeah, let's listen in.
Prevent it, and we're still trying to get a lot of answers to a ton of questions. But the one thing is clear: you are dealing with a person who's trans, that was transitioning. Are you going to be examining at all some of the drugs that are used in order to make that transition happening, to see if it plays a role? Because we also know there was a trans shooter in the Tennessee situation.
Yeah, we are doing those kind of studies now at NIH. We're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. You know, many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
So I've never seen that medicine, but you're saying that if you get it, some of the side effects could be homicide, suicide?
Well, there are black box warnings on some of these psychiatric drugs that warn about in their clinical trials that they saw suicidal and homicidal ideation. So, you know, we are going into that with an open mind.
Right. And so we actually talk about, or he's actually talking about the fact that a lot of these drugs are known to produce suicidal and homicidal thoughts. Some of these drugs that are being prescribed, this is, psychotropic meds, exactly. And so when will the truth begin to come out? When will people begin to have the actual conversation that could help those with gender dysphoria, so that we don't have any more situations like this? Uvalde shooter, trans. Denver shooter, trans. Georgia shooter, Nashville shooter, Colorado, Aberdeen, Minnesota, Iowa, Philadelphia. This seems like one that we could easily put a stop to. Right? Yeah, exactly. The side effects say in bold letters, right? It's not like one of those commercials at the end where they say side effects might do, right? You know, and they try to do it so fast that you don't pay attention. It's always rectal bleeding, though, right? That's always one of them. Why is that? Why is that? And again, the pattern, right? The pattern. The pattern. Recognizing the pattern here? No? No pattern? Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And then it's always the moms, right? Because if you see the dad, what's that? Oh, what's that? I'm gonna search for it. Dad. Where's that video? Where's the guy? Where is it? Where's that video? Not that guy. Where is it? I should have searched for this on the I'm gonna search for this on the tab over here. If I can find it quickly. Well, y'all know that video where the guy, his trans son pops out and and you can just see you can just see the pain. You can just see what's going on, brother Derek Franklin. There it is. This one. Oh man, I feel bad for this guy. Here it is. Hold on 1 second. This one, y'all know this. Y'all know the. But it's always the mom that's supporting it, and the dad, if he's any kind of man, is like, oh boy. Right? This one right here. Well, you can see this gender reveal. And look what pops out. His son. His teenage son. Yay. Look at the pain. Look at the pain. Man. I don't know how I would handle that. I don't know how I would handle that. Oh, just being honest, y'all. I don't know. What's going on, brother Derek Franklin? Seems like another revenue source for Big Pharma. Yes, and another victim group for polls and 501c3s to exploit for votes and funding. And that's why this hopefully is a step in the right direction. Where is that? Where's that post? Man, see, I'm glad you come in, brother Derek Franklin, because then you're thinking the way I'm thinking, and then I can pull this up. All right, let's see. Let me pull that clip up. Where is it? Where is he doing? Where is it? Yeah, no. I'm gonna talk about that one too, though. I have so much stuff to talk about. I might just do a long. I might just be on here for another hour. If we can keep the conversation going. But you're talking about drugs, right? We need more of this. Right? We need more of this. All right? Let's look at this. All right? Watch this. It is very important. This is from Donald Trump's Truth Social. It is very important that the drug companies justify the success of their various COVID drugs. All drugs. Donald J., all of them. Let's expand that. Okay. Many people think they are a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree. With CDC being ripped apart over this question, I want the answer, and I want it now. He shows he's really definitive about certain things. Epstein, not so much. But certain things, very definitive. Benjamin Netanyahu, not so much. This, very definitive. All right. So, what is it? I've been shown information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Why not? They go off to the next hunt and let everyone rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug company's COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now to CDC and the public and clear up this mess one way or the other. I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as many say it was. If not, we all want to know about it. And why? And why? He said, okay, thank you for your attention to this very important matter. President DJT. Very. I agree. Show those receipts. We want receipts too. We want receipts. Look, Donald. Prez. We want receipts for this too. Look, like this. Let me show you. We want receipts for this. Can we? Like, these are a couple of things we want receipts for. Hold on a second. This is one of the things we want receipts for, Donald. I'm just saying. I'm just going to pull this up real quick. Right? Not really the top one. Because I think he's trying to improve the economy. But we want to this. Because I don't believe the government should be. I think he should. We should be in the business of making America affordable by increasing production so that wages can come up to the standard of living. The housing market can go down when we push out all of these illegal immigrants who are inflating the cost of housing because we have too many people and production isn't meeting the needs. But we have the surplus of people that have come in that don't need to be here. And so that's a part of the problem. Now, but we got money to drop on BB. Got money to drop on BB. We also just while Donald, I'm just asking Donald, while we're getting to the bottom of things, just while we get into the bottom of things, I'm just asking. We're just asking. Can we? Can we get them files? Can we get them files, Donald? Can we get them files? No? We're just asking. I don't know. I'm just asking. We're just asking. We're just asking. We're waiting on the files. All right. We're just asking. You know, I don't know. Right? And so we've got people who really want to know, and we're getting people crashing out. And this is people crashing out, wanting information and wondering why we still don't have information. I know. Look, you say I know. Yeah, we're not getting them. But that don't mean we can't stop asking. But look at this. Like, we got the Alex Stein crashing out. Right?
His best friend was at his house all the time.
I swear.
So who's hanging out with the prime minister? Who's hanging out with the prime minister of the country? So you're not just Joe Blow.
Take it down.
No, I just get so mad because you guys are just so thick. It's like
just because we don't agree with you, chill out.
It's not that you don't have to agree with me. It's that she's saying that he's hanging out with the prime minister, and you're looking at me like I'm crazy because I think that he might work for the government if he's hanging out with the prime minister. You're the one gaslighting me. I'm not the crazy.
I'm not gaslighting anyone.
I can't see the force. Just his best friend.
Right, so she was trying to gaslight him. I'm sorry he went cray a little bit. Right, he crashed out, but it was a normal I think it was an acceptable crash out because she was trying to gaslight him. I'll play the more full clip because it's a 10-minute clip, but the way she was trying to gaslight him about Epstein being possibly linked to Israeli intelligence, right? So he crashes out a little bit. Yeah, he crashed out a little bit, just a little bit, right? He crashed out a little bit. I understand.
Joe Blow! Take it down!
No, I just get so mad because you guys are just so thick. It's like
just because we don't agree with you, chill out.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't work for Mossad.
Oh, come on.
You think anybody who works for Mossad is going to wear a shirt that says I work for Mossad?
Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is?
You really think the Mossad is that thick?
Because you're so smart. Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father is?
What?
Robert Maxwell. You know when Robert Maxwell died, you know what kind of funeral they gave him? They gave him the
Tell me more from the Groypers. Tell me more from Candace Owens, please.
It's not from Candace Owens.
Tell me more.
See, this is why this abroad is so stupid because this is just open. This is just open information. No, it's not. It's not from Candace. No, it's not from Candace because when Robert Maxwell died, he was never in the Israeli military, but he got this.
Go back to when you were talking about the map.
Shut up. Let me finish talking. Of course, she's going to use her Jewish magic to try to cancel me. No. Let me finish what I'm saying. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and he fell off a boat in a very weird way. So when he died, he got an official Israeli IDF heroes funeral. The funeral that only a certain person that even lost their life in a line of battle.
Esmeralda Farmer Galbraith, was she involved at all with the government?
No, listen, do not try to derail me from this. I'm trying to talk about serious stuff.
Because nobody cares.
No, because I have idiots like you that say, oh, there's no connection to Jeffrey Epstein and Mossad.
Look at how emotional you are, Alan.
Shut your mouth for 2 seconds. You just shut up. This is the thing. Yeah, because I get mad because she's lying. Let me tell you something. Jeffrey Epstein.
You lie all the time, and I don't get mad.
Maxwell, listen, this is not a lie. Jeffrey Epstein.
I have the courage in my conviction.
Let me finish my point.
So I can be calm.
Ghislaine Maxwell, her father works for Israel. She is now currently in prison for sex trafficking children. Her connection to her father is directly connected to Mossad. Now, people like you are going to lie and say that there's no connection.
You know what that means?
But when you look at Jeffrey Epstein, and you can look this up, when they did a search of his house, they found that he didn't just have an American passport, he also had an Israeli passport. So if you really do not think that he was not connected with our intelligence agencies and the intelligence agencies of the woman that he was working with to sexually traffic kids, whose father has so much evidence that he was part of Israelis Mossad agency, you're the liar. You're the one that's not connecting the dots when it's so obvious. So I get frustrated when you just sit there and lie and say there's no connection to Mossad.
You're so sure.
Now, this is that's why Zionism is toxic. And we've talked about this so many different times. But I didn't know Alex Stein. I was surprised to see him going off like this too. When I looked at this tweet, I thought he would be the one defending Epstein, but apparently not. And you saw the flag that was on her laptop, right? Right there. Hold on. You got the nice little. Where is it? Let's go back. Where is it? There it is, right there. Right there. You see it? Look which one's bigger. You see the bigger flag? Yeah, the biggest flag. She's got USA, right? Over there, America. 2 little American flags, but the big one, right? But, and then again, tying all of this back, which country is the most friendly, LGBTQ friendly, debaucherous nation in the Middle East? Tel Aviv is one of the most gay-friendly LGBT. It's right there. You become like who you worship, and America is becoming like Israel, right? These are the types of things that when you start to put the dots together, transgenderism, Israel, America. Why are we so trans-friendly all of a sudden? Huh? Why? Why was this so important for America to adopt? Why do we need to destroy generations of our children to be like Israel? Right? Yeah. Oh, he probably went harder because the clip is 10 minutes long. So, yeah, the clip is 10 minutes long. I didn't want to do the whole clip, but it's a 10-minute long clip. You see that? 11 minutes almost, right? So he probably could have given more information. But I watched the first 3 minutes of it. So, yes. Now, oh, Mint. I'm glad you said that. Thank you for leading into the net. We're gonna pull it back in. Where's that other? We'll do this. Let me bring Mint's comment back up. Let's look at this video. You guys are pretty much deciding where we go next for the last hour of the show. So we just went there. Let's listen into this one. Because Mint just made a very good point, right? Obviously Israel, because all of the other countries in the Middle East are Islamic. Islamic scholar. Let's listen to this Islamic scholar talking to this transgender or, I don't know, cross-dress. I don't know, but whatever. Let's listen.
What does Quran say about homosexuality? Thank you for the question, because it's true, there's a lot of comments and backlashes on social media, especially with what's happening now in Turkey, in North Africa, condemning homosexuality by law. But we have to say that the Quran never speaks about homosexuality. You will not find homosexuality quoted like that in the Quran, never. Nobody can find it, it's not there. So they tell us about Sodom and Gomorrah, the Qawm Lot, the Prophet Lot, peace be upon him. Those people were raping men and women. So it has nothing to do with same-sex love. And that is not quoted in the Quran. And we have in the tradition of the Prophet, peace be upon him, many ahadith traditions telling us about the Prophet Muhammad welcoming in his home mukhannathun mutarajjilat. So this is like a feminine man, transgender, we don't know, but it's what we call nowadays LGBT people. He was protecting them according to the tradition. It's in every hadith book. So this is very clear that the Prophet never condemned anyone. He defended them, peace be upon him, against people who wanted to attack them because they were what we call nowadays queer. So they had different terminology, but people like us existed at the time of the Prophet and they were protected by the Prophet. And they had a special place in his home for them, to include them, to give them work, to protect them. So if we want to be good Muslims, like some people are pretending to be good Muslims with all that hate against LGBT plus people, we should protect minorities, religious minorities, and gender minorities. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What does Quran say about homosexuality?
So, now, it says it varies widely depending on the country's legal system, level of secularism, and interpretation of Sharia, Islamic law. So they range from no legal penalty to imprisonment or even death. Turkey and Jordan, none, right? No. Right? It's not criminalized, but there's a social stigma. Okay? Punishments in Egypt, Morocco, and the like: fines, imprisonment, typically within a few months to 3 to 10 years, police harassment, or forced morality rehabilitation. There are also countries with harsh corporal punishment or death penalty. Iran, acts can be punished by death, often hanging. Saudi Arabia, punishable by flogging, prison, or even death, rare but legal. Yemen, death penalty, women, imprisonment. Sudan, pre-2020 law change, previously death penalty, now imprisonment for up to life. Just saying. So, right? Execution, stoning in Afghanistan. Somalia, execution by stoning or shooting. So, why, again, this goes back to the original question, one of the original topics. This is why Islam and the West cannot coexist. Now, I'll let Mint, you can deal with that however you want, Mint, right? But just wanted to pull that up because, there was some talk about, yeah, you're right. Yeah, there you go. I was married. Tabitha says it right there. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that is true. That's straight from Leviticus, right? 18, 20, and 22. And then Leviticus 20:13. Also 1 Corinthians 6, 9 through 11. 1 Timothy 1:9. Romans 1. I believe it's somewhere in between 18 through 32. I believe around verse 21 to 22. Yeah. There's prohibitions on it. And the first century Jews understood the law code and the term porneia in the Greek to be encompassing all of the Levitical laws regarding sexual mores. So yes, it is understood, but there's this push for trans people to support Palestine and Islam, and I don't think the support is mutual. So, yeah. Yep. So there's a long history of that happening because it's supported, right, in the Talmud. And so, yeah. Oh, man. Y'all just made me remember something else. Hold on one second. I got to do it. Hopefully it's still, hopefully. Oh, come on, come on. I hope it comes up. I hope it comes up. Where is it? I saved it, but maybe YouTube took it down. No. But not YouTube. X. Let's listen in. Speaking of what you just mentioned here. Hold on one second. If you all want to support Zionism, right? Just there's some very, very troubling things that people are starting to recognize.
So in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. You come from generations of ritualistic abuse?
Yes, my family has an extensive family tree. It's gone back to like 1700.
Does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl.
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family. There would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to, you know...
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in their family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrificing to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Power. And so, were you ever used? Were you ever used yourself?
I was molested. I was raped several times.
And what's your mother doing?
She's lives in the Chicago metropolitan area. She's on the Human Relations Commission of the town that she lives in, and she's an upstanding citizen. Nobody would suspect her.
You can't make this up.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. So, I will not support a nation that supports this. I will not support a religion that supports this. Essentially, oh boy. See, I'm letting y'all see the stuff in the comments. I'll just put it up here. Yep. And yep, because old JFK was America first. And that's what got him. But we gotta support Israel, right? We gotta support Israel. Because the Bible says so. Whoever blesses Israel will be blessed, and whoever curses Israel will be cursed. It's not what it says, though. But, all right, I'm going to do some of this. Cause look, I'm on this train. All right, I'm like yes, we need to. Most Islamic nations do not allow Christianity to exist within its, right? And then we got this cuck dancing for Somali attendees. I mean, I'm just very, right? This was my solution right here. I said, well, okay, we can do 1-to-1 citizenship swap for immigrants that want to come here and assimilate. That's the key. You got to want to assimilate. For progressives who want to turn our country into places the aforementioned immigrants want to flee. If you want to come here and assimilate, send some of these progressives over here, 1-to-1 swap for the progressives that want to turn this into the countries that y'all are leaving. Y'all can come, right? I put it in there. Here we go. Yeah. It's right there. Yeah. You're right about that, RF. Israel over there is not the Israel of the Bible. I was just watching someone make that argument today. That Jesus made a covenant with Israel, and that's why we support it. Like, Jesus ain't make no covenant with that abomination over there, that godless nation over there that says that Jesus is burning in hell in excrement. That's the nation that he made a covenant with. Oh, okay. What was the other thing we're supposed to talk about? Oh yeah, we're talking about it. Where is it? He said, this guy said it. Where is it? I forget where is he. Where is it? Or whatever. Yeah. But man. Yeah. Right, they did. Yeah. They're not the true bloodline of David. Yeah, they're not. Right. There it is, right there. Boom. Yep. Right. What is that? Am I going to leave the country since they support Israel? Why would I leave the country since? What do you mean? Why would you ask that question? I don't know. Am I going to leave the United States of America because the United States of America supports Israel? No. I'm going to actively, vociferously, loudly, and consistently call on our government to cease support for Israel, and then cast my vote for non-Zionist candidates who would actually be America first. Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. No, I disagree with that, Layla Gibson. Or Glisson? Nah. I've never seen any evidence that that's the case. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. 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 Yeah, Gia, I get it. I believe that. Yeah. What's good? Hello, Elizabeth. How are you? Yes. Hello. You're right. And it would be great if we weren't. That's my contention. That it would be great if we were not. There it is. See, I reposted it. You know what? I didn't save it. I reposted it to my page. That's why. I was like, well, I know I did something with that video. I'm going to bookmark it again. All right. Like, listen to this. This is insane. This is absolute lunacy. This is a woman. Anyone who does not accept veiled women in Belgium does not accept Islam in Belgium.
Et si ces gens-là...
Yeah, she didn't. I knew it was in a different language. That's why I read it, right? Nah, I don't have the money to start a third party, but I do vote third party most times. The only 2 times I voted for the past 2 times I voted Republican, but I'm generally a third party voter. So, well, let's talk about the China hypocrisy. What you got, Rick? Talk about it. What about it? I talked about it on the last show, the fact that I don't think we should import 600,000 Chinese students into our educational establishments. It seems like a conflict of interest. It seems like a very dangerous proposition to educate people who have no allegiance to our nation and have an allegiance to a nation that we're not very friendly with. But what else? What do you want to talk about? We got the last hour. Y'all just start complaining about stuff that I don't make a big deal of, enough of. Make a big deal of. Yeah. All right. All right. China will protect the Chinese. Now, they'll also there's some very draconian policies that they have in China, but they will protect the Chinese people. China's for the Chinese, Korea's for the Koreans, Japan's for the Japanese. Yeah. Oh, there's something now. They're going to oppress certain people, but they're not going to allow another group to come in and oppress their people. They'll oppress their own, right? Yeah. They're like, well, we're not gonna let Islam come in and, right? Yeah. And so this is the question, right? Everybody has their, so Rick, I'm going to explain this to you, right? Every channel has their specific areas of focus, right? And every person has their own specific areas of focus. I understand that to you, it may seem that I'm not talking about something like you may be at a 10 about China. And I may be at a 4, a 3, right? It's not uncommon for finite people to have finite interests and discuss those finite interests with passion. It's also not a moral failing, and follow me here, because we're not God and we're not all-knowing, omnipotent, omniscient, right? Omnipresent. We can't be at a 10 about everything. So if I'm going to talk about Zionism, if I'm going to talk about that for an hour or two, I can't cram everything into a 2-hour topic. I'm a finite human being. So you may be at a 10 about this, but I may not be. Now, here's a couple of solutions to that. One, find a channel that discusses that, because there are many. Channels that focus on that. Or start a channel of your own and discuss those things yourself. Because I can't discuss everything. So, there you go. Yeah. All right. Now, for those of you that were asking, here you go. I have it at the ready because many people come in and ask that question. So, yes. Yes, that is true. I do. I'm very selective. Rick, I'm very selective about what I look at in the chat. There have been 1,621 messages in this chat. 1,621 messages. Yeah. 1,621. I can't answer. Right. I can't answer all of them. I'm human. I admit my limitations. I can't follow. Now I did turn this. This is a smoke show, so I am responding to the chat. Normally, I don't even respond to the chat. I kind of let it go by, and I have a show that I'm trying to. But this, whenever you see the red thumbnail, that means I'm going to engage with the chat. And this is one of those episodes. So I'm doing a little smoke show. So I'm actually looking at the chat and responding to some of it. Right. So, yeah. So, all right, let's see. All right, man. So this is now Liam. This is interesting. So when someone makes a claim like this, because you'll have counterclaims, right? You have counterclaims that will say everything is controlled by a set of elite pedophiles that run certain countries. You'll also have people saying that Israel is running it by coercion and blackmail. And then you'll have people who say that everything is controlled by the Jesuits. And then so at some point, what can that all be true at the same time? And in the same way, like, can the Jesuits and Israel and the secret pedophile ring all be in control, and the shadow government? I don't know. I'm asking because it's crazy. Oh man, I have a Discord server, but I'm never on it. I mean, so I'm gonna give you guys a little insight into what my life looks like. I work generally, I wouldn't even be on right now because I would have just finished teaching music, and I wouldn't even be on right now. I would have been teaching music for the past 6 hours, and I do that most evenings. So that's why I really don't get on in the evenings as much. So I'll do midday. I'll take my lunch break and I'll do a live sometimes when I have the opportunity. And so I work software for 4 to 6 hours a day. I'm a software engineer, so independent contractor. So I work on projects for 4 to 6 hours a day. And then I teach music for another 5 to 6 hours. So I'm working pretty much 12 hours a day. And I really don't have time to be on Discord. Now, I tried, but it's just not my thing. I don't know. Yeah, I know. That's another thing I think about, right? Like, when black community likes to say that they created everything, but the white man stole everything, but then also that they don't, they're not allowed to. I don't know. It's a lot of competing claims from different groups that blacks were Egyptians, blacks are the original Hebrews, blacks are the original peoples, blacks this and that, and it's a search for relevance and a search for importance, and I was just like, okay, well, I mean, that's fine. I just don't like to make claims about things that aren't verifiable. Yeah, so I'm looking at the last time I posted on my Discord server. That's what I was looking up. Was June 17th. Okay. June 17th. That's not bad. I thought it was much worse than that. It was in June. All right. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So, let me see. And when y'all see me looking over here, that's when I'm looking at the chat. I can't really see. Yeah. So I'm looking straight on. I'm looking at the software that I'm using, but the chat is over to the right. So if y'all see me looking over here, yeah. Right. Let's see. All right. Okay. Yes, it is. Zionism is demonic. Amen to that. All right. So now we might do for the last hour. Oh, sorry. She was speaking very beautifully. I hate what she's saying. Now, I was going to do a little bit of Patrick Bet David. Man, I don't know if y'all watched Jubilee, but Patrick Bet David was on Jubilee talking to some anti-capitalist. It was masterful. It was masterful. Let's say this. I would correct that, Gia. I would correct that. I would say it's Antichrist. But the enemy of Christ is the devil. So I would say it's an Antichrist doctrine. Yeah, that's another thing. That's why I didn't want to promote him too much, because I was like, yeah. I like to watch, Yeah. And I would actually, you know what? I would go back. I would even retract that. I would even retract that, right? Because I'm trying to be. Thank you for the thoughtful pushback, right? So look at this, right? Because there's only one place in the Bible where the term Antichrist is mentioned, and I don't believe that Zionists, now Christian Zionists, don't. So if we're talking about Christians who are Zionists, right? There's only these places are the only place where in the Bible, in 1 John, and I have this book memorized, where the word Antichrist is mentioned. Okay, so children, you've heard that it is the last hour, and you know you've heard that the Antichrist is coming. So now many Antichrists have come. Therefore, we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. For they went out that it might be complained that they all are not of us. Then he says, but you, I forget. Let's see. Let's just go to I could pull it off down, but they went out from us. But you have been anointed by the Holy One, and you all have knowledge. Right, I write to you not because you do not know the truth, but because you know it, because no lies from the truth. Who is the liar? But he who denies that Jesus is the Christ. This is the Antichrist. He who denies the Father and the Son. So that's an Antichrist. Okay. Let's look at this. 4:3. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is from God, and every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you heard was coming and now is in the world already. Okay. And he says, for many have gone out into the world, those who do not confess the coming of Jesus Christ in the flesh. Such a one is a deceiver and the Antichrist. So John is the only one that mentions that term. So it's not an Antichrist doctrine per se. Now, do I believe that that Judaism is Antichrist? Absolutely, because they deny the Father and the Son. Anyone who denies the Father and the Son, anyone who denies that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh, is an Antichrist. Now, Zionism does not deny that on its face. Christians who claim to be for Israel receiving its having a homeland and then supporting everything that they do, they are absolutely not Antichrist. Now, there are some Antichrist Zionists, though. Yes, right. So, yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. You're on your stuff tonight. Oh, no. She is a well-known troll around here. We don't block trolls. Nope. I don't block the trolls. Now, unless they start spamming the chat, then I'll time them out. But, nah, she's a consistent viewer. So, I love all the interaction. Just keep it going. Right? Well, you telling me to focus on my sins, but you focusing on mine. You just put me in hell. Hold on. Wait a minute. Now you got to be consistent now. Come on. Right? Oh, that's a great question. What does toxic stand for? Yes. That's a great question. All right. So here we go. We're going to pull up the notes. Okay. Pull it up for y'all so y'all can see. It's an older video, but it checks out. It's an older code, but it checks out. Where is it? Where is it? There. So these were my show notes for the episode Zionism is Toxic. Let's see. And so it was an acronym that essentially highlighted the nature of the errors of Christian Zionism. So the T was the, right? So they're always saying to thee, but they always make the claim that it's to Israel that God made the promise in Genesis 12:3. But actually the word was singular, you in English. And so I used that. The offspring, it was the plurality of that word, where Paul uses the Greek term that is sperma versus spermacin. And the translators use offspring and offsprings to highlight the difference between the Greek word being singular and plural. And so I used that. That was O-T-O-X was Christos. So I played around with the Greek letter chi, which is the first letter in Christ's name in Greek, Christos. So that was the X, right? It's the same thing with Xmas, right? Christmas, okay? And it basically that Christ fulfills everything in the scriptures. All the promises of God find their yes in him, whether it be seed, land, whatever it is, to the Savior, everything. And so Israel was a type of Christ, and where they failed, he succeeded. Israel of God 5, which is a very important text, Galatians 6:16, where the word Kai there, the Israel of God, Christians are God's people, right? Those that are grafted in. So there's a really important, the word, that conjunction there is used specifically, let me see that, right, in Galatians, as it joins the partitive, right? And so I did this in a video previously, right? It's a partitive with the te preceding it, all right? So it actually means the words, it joins to the two partitive words, the general notion, so that it is equivalent to and in general and in a word or in short. So that in general or in a word or in short. So that's what Kai means in Galatians 6. So when Paul is saying peace be upon Israel, peace be upon the Israel of God, right? So he's saying not a separate group of people. The Israel of God is, in short, those who are following Christ, those who believe upon the Lord Jesus Christ. And so you see this verse here, Galatians 6:16, where it says, peace be upon Israel. Let's see, where's the actual click for chapter? There we go. Oh, wait, I don't want the whole chapter. And as for those who walk by this rule, peace be upon them. So that rule of no circumcision, right? And those who walk by faith. And mercy upon the Israel of God. So that word right there, Kai, is a conjunction that means in short, or the Israel of God, right? So that was the other one. That was Israel of God. I, and C, circumcision, right? It says we are the circumcision. Paul talks about that in Philippians. And Paul was a Jew of Jews, the Jews' Jew, leader of he was of the Pharisees, a Hebrew of Hebrews, as to the law, Pharisee as the zeal of persecutor of the church, as the righteousness under the law, blameless, tribe of Benjamin, all of these other things, right? And so he makes the claim that circumcision is a matter of the heart, that we who believe in Christ are the circumcision, and that circumcision counts for nothing. He makes that argument in multiple different places, right? And then I added the letter N, because whenever something's toxin, you have a toxin. And, right? So the toxin is those who would push this narrative, like old Tammy Bruce here, right?
Being able to the pride of being able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people, and in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel. Next to Israel. The pride.
And so the toxin, right? The toxin is the Zionist who teach this, legislate based on this idea. So, yeah, that's why I say it's toxic, because it's causing America to not be what it could be, right? So, yep. All right. So that was a long explanation to a question, but you asked, so I answered. And it was a shorter version than the actual video. But you can also find the video on my channel if you'd like, right? Support the channel. Let me see. I'll post the link to the video. It's, yeah, where is it? There it is. Copy the link. If you ever want to go back and listen to the entire. Yeah, I know, right? Vote her out. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's see. Now I could go down my list. Let me see if I covered everything for this specific episode. What I'll do is this. I'm going to check to see if I've covered everything from episode 6 of season 7. If not, we'll cover it now. So there's nothing else left in the backlog. Everything that I want to cover in this episode, I'm going to cover. We'll see. So you get to see, I make bookmark lists for the entire, right? So this is season 7, episode 6. And he went off. Alex Stein went off. I covered that one. Oh, yes. This was one. The Giga-based dad. All right. So Guide to Destroying the West. Convince women to hate men. Let's go back. We'll go back to the show lead-in. And we'll put this on. This will just be, hold on one second. We'll go back to that one. And then we'll make this the, where is it? We'll just go on a little soapbox to finish off. All right. So, convince women to hate men. Convince men to hate themselves. Convince minorities to hate whites. Convince whites to hate themselves. Convince the young to be LGBTQIA+. Convince the old that they are backward. Only takes a generation if done correctly. And old Elon said, bullseye. Old Elon. Yeah. So we covered this one. All right. We did cover that. Yes. All right. Let's see. Ah, yes. Governor Gavin Newsom says my state has less crime than Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. Red states. Red states. Right? They always do that. Well, these red states, my state is less of the red state. Okay, well, let's drill down to New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, blue cities, right? Mississippi. Look at these areas. Jackson and the like. They always said, oh, red states have more of a crime problem. Yeah, well, red states have some blue cities. They say if you got rid of New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Shreveport, crime would go down by 380% in Louisiana. Okay? So, Gavin Newsom, that's always but you'll see that they pound these lies over and over and over and over again, because these talking points are how they shut down arguments, how they avoid the actual topic, which is who's committing the crimes, why are they committing them, and how can we curb them committing these crimes. These are the questions we should be asking. We should be having honest conversations about who's committing the crimes, why, and how we can solve the epidemic of crime in these cities. So instead of fixing his homelessness problem, instead of fixing the crime, we'll have Donald Trump doing doing something to help DC, but they'll frame it as racist. It's racist now, right? Okay. So this gentleman here, Islamic preacher in Germany, he said, when we become the majority in a non-Muslim country, non-Muslims will have to submit to Islamic laws. That is the playbook straight from the Mecca and Medinan period of Islam. When you are in the minority, go along to get along. Make sure that if you need to lie to make sure that, people don't find out what your real aims and ends are. And then when you get authority, crush the unbelievers, subjugate them. Said during Ramadan, for example, they will not be allowed to sell food, neither to Muslims or to non-Muslims. So y'all gonna fast, even if you don't want to, right? Germany, you better remember your past, Germany. Let's just say that. Rise up. Rise up. Better remember your past, Germany. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Brandon Johnson signed an executive order. We might listen to some old Brandon. He says that Trump is threatened by intelligent black men like him.
I would have preferred to work in a more collaborative approach. I would have preferred to do the work with our allies in City Council to pass legislation ultimately. And we were doing that. We were doing just that. But some of the leaders who we are working with are standing behind me today. But unfortunately, we do not have the luxury of time. We have received credible reports that we have days, not weeks, before our city sees some type of militarized activity by the federal government. It is unclear at this time what that will look like exactly. We may see militarized immigration enforcement. We may also see National Guard troops. We may even see active duty military and armed vehicles in our streets.
Why haven't you all done anything about your problem? Chirac has been a trending name for Chicago for years now. Why, Lori Lightfoot, you, why does it take Trump threatening to bring in the National Guard, to bring in the military to solve your problem, to make Chicago great again? Why? You're posturing, and you're very, very. Let's see. What's that? Where is that? Where did he get at? He gets asked a question near the end. I think right around here. Let's see. Let me see.
For action is now.
I don't want
to. With that,
the time for action is now.
I'll sign this executive order and then return for follow-up questions.
All right. So let's look. Hold on one second. Before we go to this young lady. Where's that other? I had another video of Brandon. I'll find it. It was him getting really upset when someone asked him about Trump. I don't answer to him. Oh boy. Apparently you don't answer to anybody because you're running the city into the ground financially. Crime is at an all-time high. You are really bad at your job. Your residents are calling for you to be impeached or removed. Let's say that. You are turning Chicago red with your horrible policies and management style. Yet Trump is your biggest problem. That's rich. That's rich. Let's see. Let me see if I can find that. Chicago. No. Where is he? Let's see. Where is he? There it is. He got real, man. He got salty. Salty when they asked him about Trump. Right? Hold on one second. Yeah. Salty. There we go. Well, he gets a little bit mad. He's like, don't ask me about that. Don't ask
How effective do you think this order is going to be? Because these are federal agents we're talking about. They're taking orders from the federal government, not from the city of Chicago.
Yeah, and I don't take orders from the federal government. Thank you all very much.
Right.
How effective?
Right. That's that sassy walk-off, right? The sassy walk-off. You don't take orders from the federal government. There you go. Now, let's listen in to an actual Chicagoan. Let's listen in. I believe this young lady is from Chicago. Let's listen in. See what she has to say. Hold on one second.
The National Guard.
Right here.
Liberals in Chicago have the privilege of being able to say that we don't need the National Guard here in Chicago. They have the privilege of saying that because they keep themselves in their careful bubbles of Lincoln Park, Wicker Park. They stay up in some of the northern areas and they go and frolic at the beach, playing volleyball and pickleball and tennis in these areas where it's clean. There's minimal crime. Of course you feel like we don't need the National Guard because you've never stepped foot on the actual south and west side. Elitist, progressives, and leftist white Chicagoans have the privilege of not needing the National Guard in order to feel safe in their communities. They walk out their door in the morning with their babies to go get a quick coffee and their kid on a scooter with a helmet. That's privilege. That's the same privilege that you claim you want to be a part of unpacking and getting away from. It's the yuppie white women in Chicago who want to scream about Trump being fascist, yet they keep themselves carefully, safely tucked away in Lincoln Park. Come to Woodlawn. And not the cute part. No, go past 63rd. Come to Auburn Gresham. Chatham. Inglewood. Get on your scooter there. And do it about 7 o'clock. Okay. If you're not going to do that, mind your business.
Look. And she laid it out. There it is. She laid it out. Right? Unfortunately, not many liberals. Yeah. Not many liberals are going to take her up on that offer. Right? They're not. They will not take her up on that offer. They don't actually want, right? They don't actually want to deal with the crime. They just want to virtue signal from afar and say, well, yes, I believe that's racist, right? That's racist. If you send in the National Guard to stop black people from killing one another, you should keep your National Guard, keep your, what is it? I guess white power, I don't know what to call it, out of black neighborhoods and let them just sort it out themselves, right? Sort it out themselves. Are we serious? This is what. Right. If your mayor can't do it, then he will. I don't know. Yeah. She's asking. And you see a lot of Chicagoans are actually starting to are turning red. Chicagoans are calling out Brandon Johnson, and they're starting to they recognized what happened with the immigrant situation and them housing and papering up all the immigrants, and they see that there's a grift going on, and the Democrats are not for black people, right? Kamala said
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Why would we do that? Why would we do that? Right? And look at this. Marine Le Pen. She says it succinctly. Multiculturalism is slow death for the host culture. At some point, you have to protect what you've built. You cannot have competing worldviews and be a successful country, especially when those worldviews are antithetical to one another. So in America, I believe in American exceptionalism. I believe in hard work. I believe in capitalism. I believe these things are good. Now, I believe they've been eroded over time to be bastardizations of what they once were. But in principle, these things are good because they were built on Christian foundations and Christian principles. And so when you bring in people who don't have that cultural background and you just throw them in unassimilated, well, they're going to gather with people who are like-minded, form enclaves, and practice the culture from which they sprang. And Marine Le Pen is correct. There you go. I gotta be reminded of that. Thank you all for reminding me. Like the video. Multiculturalism is slow death for the host culture, right? So you either protect the host culture or it will die. Look at Europe. Look, where is it? Protests breaking out. Australia. Where is that? Britain. Because they don't want to be invaded and they don't want their government to continue to support a culture, Islamic culture, over and against British culture. And so America would be wise to learn the lesson. Now you see it's happening in Australia as well. Japan as well, right? So more countries are recognizing. I know it might be Debbie. It might be done for, but they're going to go down. They're going to go down fighting. At least do that. Go down fighting. It's better than going down without a fight. They realized that their government wasn't for them, that their government was doing everything to cause this situation that they're in. And so they're fighting back. Yeah. There you go. Thanks for informing me. I'll catalog that in my heart and I'll take it with me to my grave. And so when you see this Radio Europe grape crime reports in 2000, England and Wales, 8,593. That's too many, right? That's way too many. But almost 8 times as many 23 years later. What changed? Yeah, once you give up your guns, you're done. Yeah. Once you give up your guns, you're done. Germany, 8,100. Up to almost 40,000. France, 7,500. Up to 42,000. Poland, 2,300. Now, Poland goes down. I wonder why. Right? There it is. They don't allow the third world into their beautiful country. So there are so many issues. Yeah, this was the reason why. Yes. What's this? U.S. Mohammed Kazim Khan is a 23-year-old Pakistani immigrant who broke into a British woman's house and raped her for 5 hours. He poured bleach into her eyes and mouth and forced her to eat cat feces. Her hair was burned and her personal belongings were also stolen. And that's why they post this almost every time, because, right? And this is also a problem, right? The West is teaching its women to hate motherhood, to destroy the next generation, but they import the third world and they believe in having babies. They believe in having babies. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't ask the question about, I don't think it was continual, but I do believe it was, yeah. I think she was held for 5 months. I ain't asking those kind of questions. Yeah. But, yeah. 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 But, whew. He said there was a war fought 10 years ago and we lost bad. Every Western nation, every free country in the world fell in this war. America only made it out because of Trump. Yeah. I mean, there's so many, I have so much stuff in my backlog to cover the amount of evil that we see on a consistent basis, right? And this guy, Elon, posted this one as well, but it was, this guy told him, this Pakistani immigrant told the Danish man, we have 5 children while you have 1 or 2. In 10 years, there will be more Pakistanis than Danes here. There are only 5 million Danes. You will soon be exterminated. And Elon said, well, his math is correct. They will dominate you through the womb. In a country that grants citizenship to, or birthright citizenship or citizenship, or they lower the standard for citizenship and they allow illegal immigrants to be, the third world to become citizens, they will dominate you. They will overthrow you through the womb. Because while you're telling your women to not have children, they're telling their women to have 5 and 6. And just by sheer numbers, you won't be able to keep up with them. You won't be able to deport them because they will be the majority. And they're taught to defend themselves. They're not going to go down without a fight. So Europe may be too far gone, but the United States, we've got to learn the lesson. Okay? Yeah. We've got to learn the lesson. Right? Yeah. You got to learn the lesson. All right? So, now the only time I will time out, I will time out people who spam. That goes without saying. I'll time out anybody who spams the chat. So don't worry about that. Now that's one thing I don't tolerate. If you spam the chat, you will be timed out. I won't delete you. I won't ban you, but I will time you out. So, yeah, because Spamming the chat is one of the most low IQ things you can do. I like thoughtful pushback but if you have nothing better to do than to come in and copy and paste, then that's one of the most low IQ, infantile, immature things that you can do to a chat, because you're not thinking of anyone else. You're thinking of yourself only. No one else can get a word in edgewise, and it's disrespectful to the rest of the chat. So that's why I will time those people out who spam the chat. No. So what's my solution? Look, for Europe, I mean, Europe's got to, let's see. Where is it? Hold on one second. I'll find it for you. Let's see. Ooh, boy. All right, hold on one second. I'm going to find my answer over here. Hold on one second. I have a meme folder. Well, I didn't save it. Where is it? There it is. Perfect. I will save it this time because I don't want to forget it. Now this is my solution for America. It's very simple. Yeah. I think that's probably one of the wisest things. I mean, just ramp up ICE, incentivize them to, like a sales team, you get bonuses for successful legal deportations. Yeah, do whatever you got to do. And just level the playing field back so that the housing market is stable. We don't have this. The economy stabilizes because American jobs. There's so many things that can be done, and that's one of the reasons why I voted for Trump. But we knew that the left wasn't going to do anything but exacerbate the problem. Now, it still remains to be seen whether or not Trump will follow through on all of his promises. But the deportation thing, we got to get them numbers up. Hopefully, a lot of them begin to self-deport once they see, hey, they might not even get to be deported to their home country. It may be Uganda. It may be Somalia. It may be wherever. So we've got, America needs to wake up. Right about that. No stranger to danger. We need to wake up. Yeah. And Rick, one of the things that we need to do, I mentioned this when he won. I mentioned this before he won, is that it can't be that we sit around waiting for him to do everything. We have 4 years to begin the process of recapturing the things that made America. So recapturing the things that that brought us to this point, whether it be the belief in two genders, whatever, like education, discipleship of our children, whatever. We need to reclaim all of those things so that when he leaves, that the groundswell is so right. It's on us to make America great again. It has to be a ground level thing that changes this country. Trump is not, he's not a savior. He's not going to do this all on his own. He can help to provide the parameters for the next 4 years that will allow us to do the hard work. But it can't be that we're looking to him to fix everything. He can do like he could shut down the border. He can begin the mass deportation. We can do a lot of that stuff. But what happens if we don't change the mindset of the groups that got the people who voted for the policies that got us into this predicament. So we've got to change that. And that takes so it's been almost 100 years since post World War II intelligentsia began to change our culture for the worst, change our mores, our traditions for the worst. And now we sit here on the precipice of ruination based on that 100 years, almost 100, like 80 years. Well, they had a plan. Take over the higher education institutions, media, marketing, propaganda, and pump people with the ideologies that will subvert and change America fundamentally. It's working. All right? Or it worked. So how long will it take for us to reverse course? Well, it won't be done in 4 years, but we've got to do as much as we can in 4 years, right? To make sure that we're on solid footing so that when he leaves, that the next person understands that if they want to be victorious, they need to continue to create the parameters that will allow us to flourish again. I do not know. I do not know. I know that there is a formula, right? That a national repentance, national recognition of the lordship of Christ, blessed is a nation whose God is the Lord. Like that was specifically speaking of Israel, but a nation that acknowledges Jesus Christ as Lord will be blessed. So that's one of the reasons why I'm a Christian nationalist. I want Christ to be recognized as Lord. I want no false worship to be allowed in this country, whether it be secular humanism, Buddhism, Islam, whatever, name it. Right. So, and I'm almost done for the night, y'all, because it's been 3 hours. And that's what I told. I said, wife, I'll be on for about 3 hours. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. So we will end it here. Well, shortly, we'll end it here. All right. But yeah, can we reverse course? I believe that we can, because I believe that if the people, a groundswell of people would reject Zionism, that's one of the reasons why I point out the things that I point out on my channel. I believe that if we look to Christ and not idolize Israel and Zionism, and make sure that we acknowledge Christ as Lord in every sphere of existence, whether it be the home, the church, the government, then the nation will see the blessing for it. If we don't, then we'll fall like every other nation has fallen. Every empire has fallen so far. You know, Greek, Roman, the British Empire fell. Yeah. Islam, yeah, reject it all. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, we will see you all. I don't know when I'm going to see y'all again, but if I'll see y'all when I see y'all, I might do something for lunch tomorrow, around lunchtime tomorrow. But if I don't see you, right, till next time, you know, we quote 1 Corinthians 16:13. Until next time, be on the alert, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. See y'all around. Bye. Let me Show controls. There you go.